inside for Albert. Albert will get the score. Fiddler, his farewell. He tapped into a legend and probably rugby league immortality. That's not a try, that's a miracle.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Rugby League Guru podcast. We've got our live reaction to Team List Tuesday for round 17. Jesus Christ, that's terrifying. A heap to get stuck into this week. A lot of changes for a couple of key sides, some big ins as well. We'll go through them all now. Mandu, how be thee?
I am very good. I cannot believe it's round 17. What do you mean? We were in Vegas 17 weeks ago, 18 weeks ago.
18 weeks ago it was, which is
mind-blowing.
Insane. Vegas is dangerously closer the next one than it's wild.
It feels that way.
It's creeping up. It's wild times. I'll be honest with you, this weekend there is some absolute fucking stinkers as far as games of football. There's a couple of snooze fests getting about, but let's rip the Band-Aid off.
Let's
what do we
rip
got
the
first,
Band-Aid
Mandu?
off. This won't be a snooze fest. This will be a good game. Thursday, 7:50 p.m. We have the Panthers taking on the Bulldogs at CommBank Stadium.
It's a very good point. I think games are either stinkers or absolute crackers. This one fits into the absolute cracker category. Obviously, Ivan Cleary and his Panthers knocked over Webby and the Warriors last week. One of his assistant coaches is getting all the praise. He now gets a shot at another one, Cam Serraldo and the Bulldogs this week. Big watch. For the Panthers, all the State of Origin boys have been named, including Nath Cleary, named to feature in this one. Papali'i moves to the edge because Scotty Sorensen is out for 2 weeks. Alamotti just completely out of the side. Brian To'o and Tom Jenkins on the Stings. Alamotti has fallen out of favour, which is pretty wild considering how good he was last year in the grand final last year. Very interesting times over there at the Penny Panthers. When it comes to the Bulldogs, no shocks here. 1-17 essentially. Toby Sexton played really well in their last game. He retains the 7 jersey. Matt Burton returns. Galvin on the bench in jersey 17. No big changes for the Canterbury Bulldogs. Friday night footy, Cat, what do we got?
Friday, 6 p.m. The first game on Friday, we have Manly taking on the West Tigers. This one is at home at Four Pines Park.
Yeah, really interesting side for the Manly Seagulls. So, as expected, Lehigh Puade named at fullback. Turbo, he moves to the centres, which means that Ruben Garrick returns to the wing. I think there's a world here where, granted, Turbo's not playing his best position, but I think Lehigh and Garrick are. So, and I would imagine Turbo will be given a bit of a license to do what he wants. That right edge now, granted Olakuatu's not there, but DCE, Turbo, Garrick, good God, that is wild. Really keen to see Garrick jump back on the wing as well. As I've always said, I think it's his best position. Jazz Tavanga has been named at 9. Jake Simpkins is in jersey 14. A couple of boys featured for New South Wales Cup last week. Lockie Croker, Jason Saab, none of those guys featuring in the side here. Matt Lodge has been elevated to start at prop. Corey Waddell comes in on the right edge for Olakuatu. And yeah, as I said, Saab and Croker drop. So big changes by the Manly Seagulls. They need an immediate result at Brookvale Oval on Friday night. I might even be going out to this one, so stay tuned for that. Tigers are Heath Mason at fullback. Obviously, Jareem Buller, I believe he did his hammy on the last play the other day, so brutal for Jareem. Heath Mason will line up at fullback. A change that we spoke about on Bloke in a Bay said that I'm really happy to see. Latu obviously comes into the starting side, but he gets to wear the 7. I kind of like this. I think he's more of a 7 than what Jerome Luai is, and I think you want to free up Jerome Luai just to play his natural game. I think Latu, very similar to Isaiah Katoa, he can really straighten up this side, and I think you'll see the best out of Luai and Heath Mason. I like the decision. Mad to see Latu returning to Manly. Wasn't that long ago they signed him on the richest deal for a teenager we've ever seen. Very keen to see him go back to Four Pines there. Jack Bird also named on the edge, and Seafarth, he returns to the bench there. Late game, Friday night, Cat.
Late game, Knights taking on the Raiders. This one kicks off at 8 p.m. at McDonald Jones Stadium.
The previous game, that was a shit fight. This game, I think this one's going to be a cracker. I'm actually really looking forward to this one. Up there at Newcastle for the Knights, Jackson Hastings has been named at 5'8". Obviously, Fletcher Sharp, I think he's still stuck over in Perth, the poor fucker. That was a brutal one over the weekend. Cogger at 7. Backline remains the same. Jacob Saifidi returns at prop, an enormous Thomas in for the Newcastle Knights there. They are running with a 4-forward bench at the moment, so you would assume Phoenix Crossan plays big minutes in the 13 jersey, and I assume Jaden Brayley will probably go the distance in the 9. Worth noting for James Schiller, Greg Marsu is on the extended, was ruled out late last week. The other one is Tyson Gamble responsibly. He's on the extended bench as well. So Jacko Hastings named at 5'8" at the moment. Wouldn't shock me if Gamble is available if he comes in to play that role. So plenty to watch there for the Newcastle Knights, as there always is. For the Raiders, a bit boring, not much doing. Jed Stewart retains his spot on the left wing. Outside of that, no changes for the Canberra Raiders off the back of a win last week against the West Tigers. They'll run out the same against the Newcastle Knights this week. Saturday, Mandu, Super Saturday. Talk to me.
Super Saturday starts at 3 p.m. We have the Broncos taking on the Wars at Suncorp Stadium. I think this one will be a good game too.
Cracker. Yeah, this one's in the cracker category. Really looking forward to this game. The Wars obviously coming off. Honestly, they've had such a good season outside of the Melbourne Storm game where they just got decimated. I think last week was probably the worst loss of their season against the Penrith Panthers. So I'm keen to see how they bounce back in this one. The Broncos, 2 wins in a row, starting to be high flying. I have to get their defense sorted still, but starting to do better things than we've seen from Broncos during the year. The Broncos, they are 1-17. No changes there. No Selwyn Cobbo in the side. They will run out as they did last week. The Bronx. For the Wires, a couple of changes. Ed Cossey comes in on the wing. Obviously, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. We spent a bit of time with him in Vegas. He's only been back for a few weeks. Another injury, no good for DWZ. Rocco Berry returns at centre with Pompey. Luke Metcalf has been named in jersey 7. Obviously, was carrying a bit of an injury last week. I personally, even if he is 100%, if he's carrying anything Luke Metcalf, I think I would just give him a week off. I don't think I'd be sending him to Suncorp Stadium personally, but we'll see what they do there. Laban, he actually retains his spot on the edge. Kurt Cable comes back in and Leka Halasima goes back to the bench. So Laban, off the back of a good performance last week, holds on to an edge spot there. Tanner Boyd is in the extended squad as well, so it wouldn't shock me if he maybe comes in for Metcalf. We'll see how it plays out. Tane Torpicki is the other one that I expected to get named. He hasn't been named there as well. So a few changes for the Wars. The Bronx, they are essentially the same. That one will be a cracker. Middle game on Saturday, Mandu.
I think you're excited for this one, the Gutho Lomax Cup. Saturday, 5:30 p.m. We have the Dragons taking on the Eels. This one is at Wynn Stadium.
I think a lot of people would put this one in the category of snooze fest. I actually think this is going to be a good game. Last time they played each other, this was an absolute cracker. Obviously, Lomax kicking the winning field goal there, a great moment. Lomax going back to Wynn Stadium. I cannot fucking wait for that. Been a tough month or so for Lomax. I'm expecting a big performance from him. For the Dragons, Corey Allen's been named on the wing, Tui Pelotu on the other side. So Lawson and Tyrell Sloan have missed out on selection. We'll talk about Lawson when it comes to Supercoach this week on Beers and Break Evens. One of the great pains in my arse. Jaden Sewers on the edge. Leilua and Fafita on the bench. I believe Leilua actually played reserve grade last week whilst they were on the bye. So him and Viliami Fafita on the bench. If you haven't seen much of Viliami Fafita, a young guy they got from Manly a couple of years ago, kid that I like, one to watch there. For the Parramatta Eels, Dill Brown returns at 5'8", unreal for the Eels there. Sam Rani, he moves to the centre spot. He's obviously was coming off the bench playing as a back row and whatnot. He jumps into the centre spot for the suspended Will Pensini. Joey Lussick starts in jersey 9 as well. Riley Smith, I believe he might be going to the judiciary, but he's got a laceration as well. I think Riley Smith will be missing for a few weeks. And Josh Papali, he moves to the bench in jersey 17 there. Late game, Saturday night, Kat.
Late game. This will be a good one. 7:50 p.m. We have the Dolphins taking on the Rabbitohs at Suncorp Stadium. I'm a little scared of the Dolphins at the moment.
Yeah, I think you should be, but geez, South Sydney, a couple of big ins for them as well.
Yeah.
This side's finally starting to look like what it should look like. So for the Dolphins, obviously Jack Bostock out with a ACL. I want to wish Jack Bostock all the very best. Brutal how that's played out for him. Tupu gets an opportunity on the wing. Not the decision I would have made. I was hoping they were going to go for the young fella, Tavita, but they have decided to go for Tupu. Molo and Nichols, they start in the front row. Outside of that, not too many changes for this Dolphins side. You have obviously got Felice Kafusi got injured as well on the weekend. Fucking everyone's injured up there, unfortunately. For the Bunnies, quite the opposite. All these guys are returning. So Campbell Graham returns at centre. Isaiah Tass drops out of the side. Cody Walker returns at 5'8", a huge in for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Kepi moves into the front row. Arrow, he's going to wear jersey 13. And another huge in for the Bunnies is Mamazelos returns in jersey 14. I'm expecting Havili to play 30 or 40 minutes at 9, then Mamazelos will come back on. I think he'll start to retain his starting 9 jersey over the next few weeks. But if you look at the Rabbitohs, where they're placed on the ladder now, if they end up playing, finals footy at the end of the year and whatnot, I think this week, getting these guys back could be a moment where they turn their season around. Been playing good footy, just not getting the results the last few weeks. So fair to say, Kat, this is a must-win game for the Bunnies.
Oh, without a doubt. Not just because of ladder placement and points scored, but I think just the act of winning at this point in the season is very important. It's what it means for team morale, for the fans, for everyone involved.
Yeah, on the Dolphins as well. Obviously, Wayne going up against his former team has a very good record against his former team. And as well, the Dolphins coming back from Perth and whatnot. Bit going on there. So I like the Bunnies.
Yeah, I hope the jet lag's peaking.
Hope it gets them good.
Yeah.
Sick 'em. All right. Sunday.
All
What we
right,
got?
Sunday, the first game on Sunday, we have the Storm hosting. We have Storm hosting the Sharks at Amy Park. Kickoff at 2 p.m.
This one should be a cracker. I hope the Sharks are licking their wounds and a little bit embarrassed off the back of last week, a game they should have won. They really shit the bed there. Going up against Melbourne at Amy Park, it's really daunting for most teams, essentially except for the Raiders and the Sharks. They seem to do pretty well down there. So for the Melbourne Storm, Jack Howarth is out. I'm not sure if that's a suspension injury, whatever it might be. I think he might just be dropped from the side at the moment, Jack Howarth. Coates is on the wing and Grant Anderson, he will play in the centres. For the Sharkies, 1-17 essentially. Teague Wilton, he obviously went to hospital during the game last week. Looks like he's good to go. He has been named. They've added, I think, Hamlin Welle to the bench, but outside of that, the Sharkies are 1-17. This one should be a cracker, Cat, but it has got stinker potential depending on which version of the Sharkies we get, but I think we will get a good one there. Last game of the week.
Last game, we'll round it out with, if I'm allowed to, this is a bit of a stinker.
Yeah, you can call it.
Yeah, 4:05 p.m. on Sunday, we have the Titans hosting the Cowboys at Seabus Super Stadium.
Yeah, this one, this is the Pooh Slinger Cup to finish the week
my
this
days.
week. Weaver at halfback comes in for JC, who's obviously got a HIA. Tino, he starts in jersey 13. Outside of that, Titans pretty much as named from last week. For the Cows, big changes. The main thing is Clifford. He returns to the side at halfback. Purdue, he moves back out to the centres. Laybart holds onto his other centre spot. I think Braden Burns is brutally unlucky to get dropped from this side, but he has been. Reece Robson returns to 9, and Ruben Cotter, he returns in jersey 13. I'd be keeping an eye on Braden Burns to come into this side later in the week because I thought he was their best player on the fucking field last week. Wild to get dropped after that game. But yeah, Purdue back to the centre. It looks like that experiment is over. I think they'll come back to revisit it at some time in the future. But I think they do need to make a change, the Cowboys, now to try and turn what is turning into a train wreck season. They need to turn that around. The Roosters, they are on the bye this week. So the Chooks on the bye. And that is your Teamless Tuesday for round 17, guys. Thanks for joining us once again here on the Rugby League Guru podcast. We will have Beers and Break Evens coming your way at 3 p.m. tomorrow. The Late Show returns tomorrow as well with the one and only Timmy Williams. So he's going to be in studio for our preview show on Thursday morning. That'll be dropping Thursday Arvo on YouTube. So plenty of content coming your way this week on the Rugby League Guru podcast.